This is Business Now, your weekly pulse on markets, money and opportunities, brought to you by Absa Bank Uganda with their recent campaign, Your Story Matters, inspiring Ugandans to take bold steps towards financial future. Makumbya, and on the CEO segment this week, we talk tourism with Ambassador Paul Makumbya, unpacking Uganda-Kenya Coast Tourism Conference, now in its fourth edition, and how it is boosting Uganda's fortunes in the regional tourism map. On agriculture now, we explore the rising global demand for organic herbal products and hear from a chemist, Edward Kazire of Kazire Herbal Products, on what this shift could mean for Uganda's farm incomes. In technology, we'll take you to the recent IMF panel on digital payments and their role in driving financial inclusion and accelerating economic growth across the Sub-Saharan African continent. Welcome to Business Now, and first let's take a quick look at some of the trending stories in the world of business. President Trump's shock dismissal of Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook has rattled global markets, raising concerns over the Fed's independence. The move pressured the US dollar lower and shifted treasury yields, and investors betting on potential rate cuts. For Africa, a weaker dollar could ease import costs and attract fresh capital inflows, but heightened uncertainty risks reversing gains and driving up borrowing costs. Africa takes center stage in global climate leadership as Addis Ababa is hosting Africa Climate Week as we speak right now. The Africa Climate Summit, the gatherings position the continent as the provider of climate solutions for mobilizing clean energy finance and pushing adaptation strategies ahead of the COP30. For African markets, the momentum draws green investment inflows and supports economic diversification through renewables and strengthens Africa's profile with global funders and investors. South Africa is hosting key G20 task force meetings on food security and health, placing Africa at the heart of global policy talks. The discussions aim to strengthen agricultural resilience, unlock fresh health investments, and align African economies with global priorities by reinforcing the continent's role in shaping governance and attracting development finance in that sector. This is Business Now. On to our CEO segment now. Let's talk economic diplomacy. Uganda's ambassador to the coastal town of Mombasa, the brain behind the Uganda-Kenya Coast Tourism Conference, says it's time to leverage on youth, innovation and technology to grow tourism numbers. Ambassador Paul Makumbya explains how Uganda-Kenya Coast Tourism Conference, now in its fourth edition, is boosting regional tourism and positioning Uganda for new visitor markets. Talk to us. You launched at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs this edition of the Uganda-Kenya Coast Tourism Conference, and you seem to be focusing much on technology. Why take this time and then youth and innovations? What is so unique about this conference this time around?
The theme is leveraging youth, innovation and technology for responsive and inclusive tourism. For the youth, we know that they are, unlike some of us who are a bit advanced in age, the youth are very much tech savvy. They know how to play around with technology. So we want to see how can we bring the youth on board to use their tech savviness and innovations to take advantage of those youth so that they play a key role in tourism promotion.
Looking back at the previous activities that you supported through the consulate in Mombasa, give us a report card. What do the numbers say, and what is technology going to change in terms of those numbers?
The numbers have been growing since 2022 when we started this partnership between Uganda and the Kenya Coast. Of course, we cannot claim all the we cannot claim all the credit for the growing numbers, but at least we are sure we have contributed to this. I think when we started in 2022, the numbers for Kenyans visiting Uganda stood at about 350,000. And last year, in 2024, the numbers were standing at about 466. But also, the numbers that are growing, they are not only of Kenyans, because the concept we built this partnership on was one of complementarity other than competition. So the Kenyan tourism stakeholders, especially the tour operators, they don't only send Kenyans to Uganda, they also send international tourists, those from Asia, Europe, America, even Africa itself. So really, whereas we are able to account for these numbers of Kenyans visiting Uganda, unfortunately, we are not yet able to capture the data of the numbers that Kenyan tour operators are sending to Uganda as a result of this partnership, which keeps growing since 2022. So really, the growth is there, but we want to see how can we reach many more Kenyans and even beyond using the digital platforms. That's why we are bringing in the young people, the innovations on tourism promotion, and also the technology. And that's why even at the launch that took place at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on Thursday, we identified 3 young people who have got innovations in the area of tourism. The young people who have developed apps that are used to promote Uganda.
Which sectors do you think you have impacted through your campaigns in the last 3 years and now into the 4th year? I know, of course, the airline is there, but all the other service providers, and especially the ones that bring money into government coffers.
I must say again, we shall not claim all the credit, but when we started in 22, I've been using Uganda Airlines as my airline of choice from Mombasa, Entebbe, and vice versa. But we've seen the numbers growing, the number of people using Uganda Airlines. These days, we have also fallen victims of our own promotions, where you book, in the past, even if you booked on the day of travel itself, you could get yourself a seat on Uganda Airlines. But these days, you may book even 2 weeks in advance, and you are told that the airline is full, there is no availability. And we must say we claim credit we partly claim credit for that success. And the tourism value chain cuts across all sectors of the economy: agriculture, hotel industry, transport. When a tourist comes to Uganda, they use all these services. So really, the tourism growth really directly contributes to the growth of the economy. And as you are aware, when we talk about the ATMs, tourism is supposed to contribute to make the biggest contribution to the tenfold growth. So really, we are playing a key role in the key sector that government has identified contribute to the tenfold growth.
On agriculture now, organic herbs are on the rise. Chemist Edward Kazire of Kazire Herbal Products says surging global demand for herbal remedies could transform Uganda's farm incomes and open up fresh export opportunities. Organic herbal market is booming. The global herbal medicine, for instance, is valued between $70 billion in 2023 and $150 billion, with some forecasts predicting it could even surge to $275 billion by 2032, or even 328 and 433 billion 2030 and 2023, depending on the metrics, including herbal supplements, remedies, and traditional medicine products.
It has been a journey of innovation, a journey of product development, a journey of community consultations, but with a lot of challenges whereby we have found most people had not trusted the science. They believe that a local solution is an equivalent of a substandard product until when they come to our standard state-of-art production facility and they find that we are using advanced technology as that being used by high-end modern pharmaceutical companies, UHT technologies. But also the limited supply of raw materials has been a challenge, but I'm grateful Ugandans are embracing the journey. We are enrolling more and more outgrowers, so this is getting solved a bit. But also we have established 1,000 acres of these medicinal plants in Masindi, where we are now reducing the challenge of raw materials. One key thing in our journey of product development, I have confirmed one thing. A quality product will never saturate the market. We have no challenges with the market, but we have challenges with the supply. Actually, we need more raw materials to be able to meet our market demand, because we are swimming in a market of 500 million people. We are talking about DRC, 200 million. We are talking about Uganda, 40 million. We are talking about Tanzania, 60 million. We are talking about Kenya, about 50 million. We are talking about Somalia. So, Southern Sudan. So the issue on markets is not really an issue to Kazire health products. The issue is standardization. Have a standard product to the community and you will never satisfy the market. Up to today, you will never find an expired Kazire product on the market. The heat of COVID-19 and the World Health Organization came out with the clearance on guidelines for standardization of natural or herbal medicine. And it was based on this that the government of Uganda came out quickly, because previously we had had the support of the president on development and protection of natural medicine, that he quickly inaugurated the traditional medicine and complementary medicine bill that was there, and he enacted quickly, it was enacted quickly into a law. And this opened the gate, the wide gate, for all researchers who were doing any work in natural medicine drug development. It is upon this that officially National Drug Authority could notify a traditional medicine and give it a notification certificate that it can be allowed to be dispensed across the counter on pharmacies with other drugs imported from abroad. So that was great.
On to tech now, let's turn our cameras to digital payments. At a recent IMF panel hosted by Adebe Amaro Selassie, the Director of Africa Department, IMF experts highlighted how mobile money and digital transfers are transforming access to financial services and catalyzing economic growth across the Sub-Saharan Africa. Now, the region's mobile money platforms processed over $1.4 trillion in transactions in 2023, while ecosystem transactions, including merchant payments, pushed bank-to-mobile transfers to $127 billion, and international remittances, hear this, to $34 billion in 2024.
Digital payments are transforming economies across the world. And in Africa in particular, it's very dynamic. And Africa, especially Sub-Saharan Africa, is becoming a global leader on mobile money. And we see millions of people start to access financial services through their iPhones, their mobile phones. Of course, as the paper shows, there is still great potential to be realized in SSA region on digital payments. So I would highlight three key messages from this paper. The first one is that for SSA region, given the digital payment landscape, authorities need to adopt targeted policies to support further development in this area. So that means we need to think about nuanced policies depending on regional, national, or even local realities. And authorities need to think about how to strengthen digital infrastructure, how to expand national ID coverage, for example, how to improve financial and digital literacy. So different countries have different bottlenecks, and we support a targeted policy approach by different authorities. I think the second message from this paper is that private sector innovation are very important, and these innovations should be supported, not to be crowded out. If we look at different countries in our region, we see fast payment systems, we see private mobile money. Most of them are operated by private sector and regulated by central bank and financial regulators. And they are already providing a lot of benefits in terms of financial inclusion, in terms of facilitating trade and payment. For public sector, there are also discussions on introducing central bank digital currency, CBDC. And we think, and this paper correctly pointed out, that CBDC should be a complement, not a substitute for private sector innovation. In addition to CBDC, public sector also need to work hard to think about how to design and implement a comprehensive regulatory framework for crypto assets, including stablecoins. And third and last, in terms of key messages from this paper, is that regional collaboration is vital. Regional collaboration in the form of interoperability, in the form of regulatory alignment, are very important to further enable a bigger market, enable more use cases, and support cross-border payment and also international trade in that region.
There is a lot of heterogeneity in the region, so we are at different levels. So the way in which we embrace technology is also going to be different. When we talked about mobile money earlier on, and we said how the continent leapfrogged in this space. The technology that we are talking about now in fast payments and whether you call blockchain, tokenization, and all of that, we might be behind. The point here is that when we embrace it, we could be easily be able to leapfrog. Payments is at the core of what we do, and so we should be able to, for me, the thing would be to set standards. I mean, think of globally. CPMI will set a standard, and countries translate that into domestic legislation.
That's it for this week on NTV Business Now. Catch the full show again anytime on our YouTube channel, NTV Uganda, and follow me on @Makumbya on X for more updates and behind the scenes and insights in what's happening in the business world. You can also visit our website on ntv.co.ug for more business news, analysts, and stories shaping Uganda and the region. Don't forget, we're sponsored by Absa Bank, making all your possibilities and your business dreams possible by visiting all your Absa Bank branches to meet all your dreams in the business world, be it school fees, being salaries, being acquiring any asset that you would like. This is Business Now. Next up will be news at 9 p.m. and don't miss out on NTV Business as well.